Hey friends, welcome back to Break the Box Podcast. I'm your girl Kalina. Listen, around here, we keep it real, we keep it bold, and we make Jesus make sense. So grab your coffee and come hang out. Let's get into it. Hey everybody, we are back for Break the Box Podcast. Listen, I am in for another fun interview today on our road to 100 episodes. I'm super excited to have somebody on that I love, that I get to do a lot of life with. So Break the Box, will you help me welcome Aryanna Torres to the pod?
Hi,
Hey girl, how are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
We're doing good. We had some technical difficulties getting on here today because of good old internet, but I'm so happy you're here today. I love you so much, and I feel like this is such a needed conversation. So tell everybody a little bit about yourself. Obviously, I've known your family for years. I've known you for most of your life, but will you tell everybody a little bit about who you are, where you go to school, what your age is like, just so that some of our listeners can kind of get some background on you?
Yeah, so my name's Ariana. A lot of people close to me call me Adi. I'm
Hmm.
17. I just turned 17 in December, and I play softball. I'm very involved in school and in sports, and church.
Yeah, heck yeah. She also sings on the worship team, and I love her. She has such an incredible voice. I believe in this. I believe in younger generation, using those gifts even while you guys are getting going, because I wish I would have started when I was younger. I waited so long, and so I love having you. But this is the kicker: is Adia's 17. She is right in the throes of high school and learning how to serve Jesus, and also slowly becoming this young woman. And so I wanted to have you on today just to kind of talk about what it's really like to be a high school student, what it's really like to be raised in church, and maybe even talk about some of the things that we do right and some of the things we don't do right. But we're going to start out on a positive note, right? So we all know there's some
Okay.
stuff that we could do better. But on a good note, what are things, as you've been raised in church literally your whole life, what are things that you love about church that have been good for you, or that you look back and are grateful that you were raised in that kind of a, atmosphere?
I really love the community that comes with it.
Yeah.
You can find a lot of, deep relationships and
Yeah.
friendships within different environments. But I feel like for
Hmm.
me personally, with church, I found a lot of people that I know are gonna be in my life, for the
Yeah.
rest of my life through
Hmm.
church. And also just there's a lot more people for me in church that I can go to on a more deep, realistic,
Yeah.
note, talk
Hmm.
about deeper things that are going on in
Sure.
my life than I can with people at school or
Yeah.
in sports.
Yeah.
So I like that. I like also the fun activities that we have.
Hmm.
As being a part of youth, we have a lot of fun opportunities, given to us, and we have a lot of fun events, and that kind of keeps me busy.
I love it. So you enjoy the community, you enjoy the people you get to run with that are also running in the same lane. And I think that's such a positive that we forget sometimes. I mean, let's be honest, church is not perfect. We are not perfect. Sometimes
Yeah.
there's just messiness, right? But the one thing we do have is that we are a community. We are a church family. We come together. I mean, I was even thinking back the other day to your, was it your quinceañera? But no, it was your sweet 16, right? What was your
My
big
sweet
party?
16.
Sweet 16, right?
Yeah.
And I remember the room was full of so much of your family, but there was also so many church family people there. And I love that, because the truth is we are doing life together and hanging out together and walking out the journey together. And so I think when you get to celebrate, it's actually really cool. So
Yeah.
I love that that's a positive for you too. Now, let's be honest, sometimes it can get a little hard because we go to a smaller church, right? And so,
Mhm.
when there's only a couple hundred people in total, you're going to see a lot of the same faces, especially in a youth group. It's a very small knit group. And so
Yeah.
sometimes it can be hard because you might not be vibing with everybody every day, or someone breaks up with somebody. It can be kind of weird sometimes.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of like family, right? You learn how to just keep going and loving one another, and it kind of teaches us maybe a little bit of patience for one another.
Yes.
I don't know if you remember this, but I just hit me right now. I remember there was a season that we had it was kind of all girls. There was only girls in the youth group, and we were even kind of joking what is wrong? We need to start posting that we have a bunch of girls in the group. And
Yeah.
now, right? Do you remember that? And then now we're
Yeah.
in the season where we have a ton of boys, and I think it's kind of evening out a little bit.
Yeah.
But I was definitely praying for y'all for a little season, because I was like, my poor girls, it's all of them, and there was one or two people, and then it was mostly the little ones. And so I'm really grateful that the Lord has brought a good mix, because we need both, right? We got
Yeah.
to have a healthy balance. So I
Yeah.
love that you love community, but I want to be real today, right? there's a lot of younger high school students specifically who really struggle with the everyday life, right? And I think one of the things I see so much as a leader is that they have a hard time expressing that. They have a hard time saying when they're struggling. Why do you feel like a lot of kids in high school struggle to do that when they're kind of being raised in a faith community?
I feel like there's a stereotype that everybody has. Like, if
Mhm.
you're a Christian, you have to be on your A game. You
Yeah,
cannot mess up. If you have a relationship with God, you need to be like the best person ever.
on it.
And I just feel like, yeah, it's true. We're Christian. We should be living for God, being images of God, but that also doesn't make us perfect. Like, we
Come on.
still have our moments and we still have
Mhm.
our mistakes, our mess ups.
Yep.
And I feel like, I don't know, for me personally, I did go through that a lot. With like when I first started with worship
Mhm.
and actually being on stage in front of everybody, like at my own church. Because prior, like I would do it with Joyco, I would do it with my youth group, and then,
Sure.
but that was like every once in a while. And then when it got like serious, like, okay, I'm gonna start doing this more frequently,
Mhm.
it hit me like, dang, like there's a lot of people watching me now,
Watching
and a
me.
lot of people that I know, like they
Mhm.
know me. And I don't know, it just felt like, I felt like for a while, I had to put on the front like, "Okay, I'm worshiping now, my life is perfect, I'm fine." Not that
Mhm.
I'm perfect, but, like, I'm not doing it. Like, I'm good, I'm fine, there's nothing
Right.
going on, and, obviously that's not true, but
Yeah.
it's just the stereotype that people have.
Mhm. Like, you almost feel like people have this pressure to be, like, perfect in a perfect little box, and then it almost is hard for them to feel like when they express that they're not, it's stressful, right? Because they
Yeah.
feel like, "I have to be this person," and I agree with you, like, when you came on the worship team, like, I was so excited, and I, like, couldn't wait because I think you were, like gosh, you must have been, like, what, 15 when you came on? Because 'Cause it's been, like, a couple
Yeah.
years? Right? Like, couple years? Like, when you're asking a 15-year-old to come on the worship team, you cannot have this expectation, like, they're gonna kill it, everything's gonna be perfect, they're gonna live like Proverbs 31 women, like, it's just not realistic, right? And I think sometimes people forget that when we even are encouraging people to be used, yes, there still should be, like, an encouragement to walk a life that honors the Lord, but they're gonna struggle, you're gonna walk through stuff,
Yeah.
like, even we as adults struggle, right? And so I think what I hear you saying is, like, sometimes you feel like you wanna do all these things and you don't know how to, but there's a lot of pressure to kind of, to be perfect, right? Do you feel like you guys put a lot of pressure on yourselves, or do you feel like that comes more from, like, outside people or, like, church community?
I feel like it's a very personal thing for,
Mhm.
I can't speak for everyone else, but I know for me
Sure.
personally, it was a very personal thing.
Yeah.
But it wasn't only personal. I did have
Sure.
comments made where it was like, "Oh, and you're on the worship team?" And I'd be like,
Don't you love that
"Okay."
comment? It's like
I
straight shade.
Yeah, like, "Oh, what?" Like, "Okay,
Yeah,
sorry."
yeah.
But it's like I did have comments like that, and it
Mhm.
is, kind of pushed on you, like that
Yeah,
type of,
yeah,
stereotype, but I think it's
absolutely.
a mix of both.
Sure. And I think people see that, like, they'll even kinda when you become a believer, you do something that's, like, not perfect, and someone's like, "Oh, I thought you were a Christian," right? Like, they almost throw it in your
Yes.
face, and I have to remind people too, like, "Yeah, I'm a believer, but I'm still working through stuff too. I'm still learning how to serve the Lord, like, I'm not gonna get it right every time,
Yeah.
but I'm also growing," right? And I think sometimes that we do mess that up in the church, like, we can become, like, overly religious about things where we
Mhm.
feel like if you're on the worship team, instead of going, you're a 15-year-old finding your space with Jesus and growing, we go, you have to be this, right? And you have to be this perfect person. And like, that's just unrealistic, right? Like, no,
Yeah.
like, think about, I mean, you don't have to, but I'll think about myself as a teenager. Like, I was still figuring that stuff out, right? Like, I mean, you know, some of my stories. We're not going to voice all those on the pod, but like, I was dating people I had no business dating. Like, I was trying to figure, don't even overlap because you already know I tell my youth, a lot of the youth, my secrets, but like I was doing a lot of stuff I shouldn't have done either, right? But I also like loved Jesus and I was growing and I was being raised in a faith community and it helped me, right? But I think that's so cool that you're just saying like sometimes even saying the struggle can be hard because you feel this pressure to be perfect. So, in light of that, like what advice would you give to maybe us leaders or people who are trying to help people in your generation? Like, what are spaces and things that we could do to help you guys be able to feel that you can be real and also help you without making you feel this pressure of like perfection?
Honestly, just not putting us on such a high pedestal,
Yep.
not like putting us to such a high standard. I feel
Yeah.
like, especially for parents, I feel like
Mhm.
when parents put their kids on a high pedestal and then they're disappointed
Yeah,
when their kid messes up, it causes
yeah,
hurt for, like, everybody in the situation. I
totally.
feel like in the moment, it's like, okay, it's hurting the kid because you're like, "Oh my gosh, I disappointed my parents. I'm a terrible
Mhm,
kid. I'm a terrible son or daughter." Like it feels
yeah,
like that. And then for the parent, it's like, "How could you do this? I expected so much from you. Like
mhm,
this shouldn't be my like not that this shouldn't be my kid, but this shouldn't be
mhm.
something my kid like did."
Should have
And it
done.
just causes yeah, and it just causes drama and
Yeah,
pain and like a
yeah,
lot of unsaid feelings. And I
yeah,
feel like when a parent isn't putting their kid to that expectation, there's a lot
mhm,
more room to be understanding and to
sure,
communicate, and I think that's a very big thing. And then
100%.
also, just for, like, the church, I feel like don't be so judgmental, cause the same
Mhm,
thing, like, we're all human, don't hold us to such a high standard. It's like, everybody is gonna make mistakes, that's, like, a normal thing, so
more way of life.
yeah. So it just feels like yeah, don't be so
Don't
judgmental
be so
and the
harsh on people. I
standards.
love that. Well, and this is the kicker is like, I think most adults, we forget that we were once your age, right? And we've been there. But I think the bottom line is a lot of parents feel like when their kid fails or their kid has a misstep, they feel like that's a complete representation of them, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I have failed my child. No, you have a child that's human. Like, you, okay, your kid sins. Oh, look at that. We all do, like,
Yeah.
but they take this weight of like, my child has to be so great because that's a representation. And I actually think like adults need to even kind of take that pressure off and go, I'm raising my kid right. When they make a mistake, I have a consequence and I try to lead them in the way of the Lord, but they're human and they're going to fall too. I think it would take so much pressure off of you guys to kind of breathe because we need that. We need spaces to just kind of grow. Like my parents were incredible parents, but they were probably very similar to yours. There was a lot of structure, there was a lot of guidelines. But my brothers were wild, like absolutely wild. Like if even to this day, I used to laugh at my dad because I'm like, you be on the stage playing and worshiping, and your boys was like out running, like but it didn't make them bad parents. It made them parents of and I had my own stuff too, like, it made them parents of human children, right? When we go to
Mhm.
church, we do not become this supernatural angelic being. Like,
Yeah.
we're humans, right? And so I love that you're saying, like, take us off the pedestal. Don't put us on something that we're still growing. I mean, you're 17 years old. Do you feel like you have learned it all and you know exactly how to kill it for Jesus right now?
Absolutely not.
Right?
There's
Like
still a lot to
you're
learn.
still growing, right? And so if we put you on that pedestal, it's like, well, she's arrived. Well, we haven't arrived. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even there. So, like, let me ask you this then. So, if you feel like we shouldn't be putting people on pedestals and giving them more space without so much judgment, which I totally agree with you, like, do you still believe in like being raised in households that have good rules and even like consequences when you do something wrong?
Yeah, 100%. I
Okay.
feel like I'm pro consequences
Okay.
because I feel like that honestly teaches a kid a lot.
Sure.
It teaches them like I know for me, whenever I have consequences, I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
never doing this again. And sometimes it was actually like that. Like I messed up
Yeah.
once and I learned my lesson. I never did it again because of my
Yeah.
consequence. And
Yeah.
then it also just teaches them like if you make bad decisions, yeah, there's
Mhm.
gonna be an outcome that's not gonna be
Sure.
so great. Like
Sure.
you can't raise kids letting them think, "Oh, it's okay, you messed up, but oh, it's okay.
Right.
It's gonna be okay." Because yeah, it will be okay, but in the moment it can lead to something that
Sure.
isn't okay, you know?
Sure. Sure.
But yeah, I really think consequences are good.
They're not fun, right? They're not fun to walk out,
No.
but you need them. Like, you need to be like, you're gonna lose your phone for a little bit because, you didn't make some good decisions because it makes you think, right?
Yeah, and even with losing the phone, I think that's a good, like, way for a kid to kind of
Mhm.
reset,
Come on.
to realize there's more to the world than just a little device, you know?
Right,
And I'm speaking to myself
right.
too, like,
It's
if
hard
I
though.
get my phone taken away, it is, but it gives me a reset. Like,
Yeah.
it shows me, like, there's more things that I can do than
Mhm.
just sit in my room and be on my phone.
100%. Would you say, like, that's the hardest, like, consequence as a high school student is, like, no phone?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because for I think all of us, majority of us, it's like that's what we use text our friends to,
Yeah, to
like,
talk, to stay in the loop of like, yeah.
yes.
I know I remember talking to one high school student. She was like a senior and she had told me like her parents grounded her from her phone for like the last 6 months of her like senior year. And I remember her telling me like, I don't know what's happening with anybody. Like I don't know where like the friends are hanging out. I don't know what like happened. I'm not getting any photos. She's like, I feel completely out of the loop. And I remember
Yeah.
like I actually felt so bad because I was like, okay, yeah, this is more than just not just social media. It was like it kind of took her away from like anything other than face to face. And you guys don't do a lot of
Yes.
face to face anymore other than school, right?
Uh-huh.
You guys
Yeah.
like see each other, but then everything's on the phone. Like people will be at dinner tables like texting each other. Like that's kind of your generation, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm the same way, girl. I love me some socials. I love me text messaging. Like if someone ever was like, you can't have your phone for a week, I'll probably cry. I'll be like, but I need it. I mean, I wouldn't mind like not getting all the phone calls and stuff, but like for the purpose of like hang out and seeing people, I agree. Like it's a nice thing, but I also agree with you. That's sometimes the hardest thing because then you think next time, hey, this consequence actually like hurt me. Like not in a mean, like
Yeah.
abusive way, but like this hurt me. So then you actually think like when you go to make a decision, should I do that? Because they're probably gonna take my phone away again.
Yeah.
Versus like have you ever seen the parents who are like, don't do this or I'm gonna take your phone. Don't do this or I'm gonna take your phone. And then they never do it. Those kids
Yeah.
will work those parents so freaking hard because they're just like, yeah, my mom says that, but she won't actually do it,
Yeah.
right?
It's all talk.
Right. But your mom's not like that, huh?
No.
No, she
My
says she's
parents
gonna
will
take
do
it, she's gonna
it.
take it? Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the longest can we put you on blast for a minute? What's the longest you've had your phone taken away for? Like months?
I think
Have you ever been on, like, a long break where you're like, "Oh, dear Jesus."
I think a month.
Oh, that's not bad.
That no, they don't
That's
do
not too
it
bad.
like crazy, like 6
Yeah.
months. That's like, "Oh my gosh, that's
You'll
crazy."
be like, "I don't know
That's a
anybody."
half a year. Yeah, that's crazy. But
But
no,
it
the
but
longest is a month.
a month. But, like, did you feel like after a month when you went back into life, you kinda went, "Hey, I need to think about what I did?" Like, did it make you kind of take, like, a little realization for a second?
It did because I
Mm.
never the reason I got my phone taken away, I never did it again.
Yeah.
It was a very big, like, reset, like, "Okay, yeah, no,
Dang.
I'm
Dang.
good. I'm never
I
doing that
love
again."
that. Our parents, so you hear it. Unfortunately, the phone is a big one, like, if that but I also think too, and I wanna say this, like, I think it depends on your kid, right? Because every kid is different. There's, like, some kids that, like, video gaming is their thing or, like, hanging
Mhm.
out with their friends is their thing, right? And I don't think consequences should be made just to be mean, but I think you have to figure out what is something that will make your kid think, not just what does everybody else do, right? And
Yeah.
so I think for like you said it, like, we need consequences to make us kinda think about those things, but we also have to be real with our kids. Like, I think a lot more people need to have spaces for like honest communication. And so I kinda wanna say this too, like, you and I, like, I remember when you first came on the worship team, I was so pumped, I, like, saw you growing, but I remember there was, like, even a season where I didn't feel like the Lord was telling me, like, you were sinning or anything like that, but I felt like there was something off, like, I'm a pretty, like, discerning person, I was like, "Something's just off with Audie," and I remember my first instinct was, like, to pull you aside, to ask you what was going on, to try to fix it, and I literally felt the Lord that day, he, like, checked me, and he was like, "Clint, I don't need you to fix her, I just want you to pray for her, like, she's going through some stuff, pray for her." And so I didn't even talk to you. I just was like, "Okay, Lord," and I just started praying for you and intentionally like, "How are you doing?" And then I felt like a little shift over time. I also think that sometimes as like adults and as leaders, we need to be careful to not always try to jump in and just fix everything when a kid is like struggling or going through something because they also need like space to learn, right? Like you need
Yeah.
space to like figure out why you're doing what you're doing or you're not doing because if we're always kind of like over what do they call it? Like control freak vibes,
Hovering.
hovering, I hate that word, right? Hovering parent. Like, isn't that hard? Like, for you, like, what does a hovering situation do for you guys mentally?
Honestly, for a lot of kids,
Mhm.
hovering parents can create sneaky kids, and that's not what you wanna
Ooh,
do.
girl, say the
That's
truth.
very
Yeah.
and that's honestly the truth, and I'm sorry for the
Mhm.
teens that might be listening with their parents, but it's the truth. I'm not
It
saying
is.
your teen is, like, doing something because 'cause you're
Yeah.
overprotective, but it sometimes does cause a lot of that, or even it's like it doesn't even have to be like you're secretly doing something, it could just be
Yeah.
like you're hiding something that you feel,
Yeah.
and because they're hovering, because you don't
Yeah.
think that they'll understand,
Mhm.
and that's a very big thing.
That's such a good point though. Like when there's like that helicopter parent, right? They feel like they're doing everything to like control because they're so worried, but it actually makes the kid feel like not only are they afraid to get in trouble, but they're also afraid just to voice things because
Yeah.
they're not sure what's safe, right? And we're supposed to be creating safe spaces where you're like you can come to us and talk about your struggles and go,
Yeah.
"Hey, this is where I'm at." Not with this like, "What did you do today?" right? And I totally agree. I think that your generation is like sneakier, sneaky. Like, and I think kids have had to learn how to be that way because they're so afraid of like the parent who's like gonna, get them if they do
Yeah.
something wrong. And there's not even like that space to be like, hey, this is where I'm at. And like my parents used to always just kind of teach us, like, if you're honest and you're open, like that's the conversation. It doesn't mean if you say something bad that you did, you won't get in trouble. But like, it's not an initial you're in trouble if you come to
Mhm.
us, right?
Mhm.
But is that hard? Is that hard to go to a parent when you know you're struggling? Like, do you feel like you're kind of like wired to almost like hide it until you feel like a conviction? Or like what makes you feel like, hey, I should go to someone when you're struggling?
I think it is a really hard thing. It also
Mhm.
depends on the type of relationship you have with your parents,
Yeah.
because I have certain friends or like acquaintances who they go to their parents for everything,
Yeah.
and it's like, dang, like that's a cool thing to have. And
Yeah.
I wasn't always like that with my parents. We're
Mhm.
slowly getting there,
Yeah.
but to see like friends like that, it's like, wow, that's cool. So I think
Yeah.
it really just depends on the relationship, but yeah, it can
Sure.
be hard.
Sure. But I think we all have to learn to like create those spaces, right? Like as adults, we can't like I actually tell people this all the time. You got to learn how to control your face when your like teenager tells you something crazy. Like you can't be like, cause you could see the
Yeah.
anger and then that person
Yes.
shuts down because they're
Yeah.
done, and I think that's sometimes where, like, as adults, we don't mean to, but we, like, react even in our body language, and then you guys go, "Whoop," too much, and you pull away, and then the next time you go to wanna say something, you can't, and that's something that, like you said, it sometimes you kind of have to grow into that, but even I've worked really hard on that. Like, in the beginning, I'd be like, when somebody would
Yeah.
say something, like, super sketto, I'd be like, "What did you do?" And now I'm just like, okay, I like that's usually my face, like, "Okay, like, let's talk about
Yeah.
it," right? But I want them to know I'm not judging you for what you're telling me, but I'm also creating a space where we can have a real conversation because I would rather you come to me and go, "Hey girl, this is what I'm facing." And even me think like, "Oh gosh, I don't want her to be there, but let's talk about it," versus you just hide it and talk about it with your friends. Because as much as I love even probably who your friends are, they're not gonna give you the advice a parent or like an
Mm-mm.
older spiritual mature person is gonna give you. And so we have to create spaces where people feel comfortable to have conversations because that's where growth happens, right? Like that's
Yeah.
where our moms and dads can actually like show up for us or our community at church, right? And so I think that's something that we're all kind of growing in. Do you believe too, like it's good to give your kids space to kind of like make decisions sometimes so that they can learn from their bad decisions?
Yes, absolutely. Because I
Mhm.
feel like when a kid spends their whole life with their parents, like, right next to them and
Mhm.
making all these decisions for them and, like, no freedom, no space to try
Yeah.
anything. The minute they hit 18, that freedom just, like,
Yep.
overflows, and it's, like,
Mhm.
overwhelming. They don't
Yep.
know how to handle that amount of freedom,
Yep.
and it could either lead to them not knowing how to go into the world as, like, an adult, and they're
Yep.
scared and they don't know what to do, or it can lead to them going absolutely crazy and,
Yeah.
like, being out there.
They
So,
go
yeah, I
crazy,
think
yeah,
it
and
is,
I've
yes.
I've seen that a ton, like, if they're too smothered under 18, they go, like, buck wild at 18,
Yeah.
right? Or even if they just haven't been giving a space to, like, make decisions at all, they almost don't know how to make the right decisions because 'cause they've always been, like, forced to, like, have the adults make
Yes.
those decisions, and, like,
Yes.
I remember my parents were that was one thing they were really strict, like, my parents were very strict, okay? Like, we had, like, lots of rules, but they did give us room, specifically in high school, there was a lot of room for us to make decisions. Like my parents would say things like, "You want to ditch school? Ditch, but like don't call me to try to like come fix it when like you're in the principal's office." Or like I remember one time my brother was like, I don't remember, he's like 15. He told my dad like, "I'm so mad at you. I'm leaving the house." Packed his bags, like put all of his clothes into a suitcase, walked to the front door and looked my dad dead in the eye. I was like, "I'm leaving." And my dad was like, "Bye." go. Like, you wanna go, go, right? And I remember
Yeah.
sitting there like, I was crying. I remember this. I was sitting on the stairs. I was like, "Don't tell my brother to go," right? My dad was like, "Go." Like, he was, like, calling him on his bluff, right? He's like, "But when the cops pick you up, I'm not gonna come get you, so let me know how that goes in juvie." And my brother was like, "You wouldn't come get me?" And my dad was like, "No, I'm not hurting you. There's nothing wrong here. You're just mad because this is my house, my rules. So if you
Yeah.
wanna run away, you do that, but that's you." My brother walked right upstairs, unpacked his bags, right? But again, it wasn't a like, my dad didn't go grab him and yank him upstairs, right? My dad almost kinda went, "Hey, this is your space. If you wanna do that, you do that, but then you're gonna walk that out." My parents did
Yeah.
that all the time with us, and it really helped me. Like, it immensely helped me to go, I have to make these decisions. Like, I did ditch, I'm not even gonna lie. I think only once or twice, but I didn't get caught because I was also a little
It
sneak too. But, like, I still remember thinking that, like, if I get in trouble and, like, I want my mom to come fix it, she's not gonna fix this for me, and those kind of things give us space, right? I think that we need to create spaces for you guys to learn under our covering where we can kinda watch and be helpful without being like, choose this, do this, right? Like, it kinda helps
yeah.
you build that, you know? And so, okay, so then let me ask you this as a follow-up, right? So you want spaces to be you, and you know that you need consequences, right? But, like, is there, like, one thing that, like, and you even said, like, the pedestal, like, one thing, like, even not even just parents for a minute, but, like, as a church community, how can we support you? Like, as a church, like, what do you need from us when you're growing in your relationship and trying to figure the Lord out?
Honestly, my mom says this all the time, and it's something that I always stand by, like, it's always
Mhm.
in the back of my head, is truth by love.
I love
Like,
that.
that's a very big thing because when you're hiding something or you're going through something, the world has made it seem like you go to Christians and they're gonna bash you for it and
Yeah,
they're gonna judge you and all this stuff, and it almost makes you scared, like, I don't
to do
wanna
it.
show my true self and what
Mhm.
I'm dealing with because that's how, like, people are gonna react to me.
That's
And
right.
I love when people come to me think like knowing I sing on the worship team, I go to youth groups, I go to
Mhm.
church, like all this stuff. I go to the Christian school. I love when people come to me and they tell me something and I tell them like, "Okay, like let's talk about it." Like you said,
Yeah.
let's talk about it. It's
Yeah.
like I love when they see that I'm not judgmental towards them
Mhm. So
and that
good.
I show them truth by love. Like, okay,
Mhm.
like that's not the right thing, but here is all of this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I just think that's a very big thing that
Love it.
creates a lot of room for somebody to be vulnerable and to start creating trust for people.
Absolutely. I love that. I think as a community, when we do life together, it's not for us to all be perfect little pretty angels of the Lord, right? It's for us to do
Yeah.
life together. And sometimes we're going to fall short. Sometimes we're not going to do it right. But we are, like the Bible says, iron sharpens iron, which means like we should be making each other better. And truth by love is the perfect way to say it. Like sometimes I may know something's off with like one of the youth or the young adults, and I'm not going to go be like, the Holy Spirit told me I'm put you on blast, right? I
Yeah.
might just walk over and like put my arm around them and go, "Hey, I love you and I'm praying for you today." Like maybe in that moment, it's just love, right? Then there might be another moment where I go, "Hey, I could tell in this one area you're kind of struggling. I want to really challenge you and just encourage you," right? But like knowing how to have that balance without just being like, "I know what you're doing and you're going to hell." You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like I think we really have to kind of pull back and think, how can we lead this person to Jesus without making them feel like they're the worst person in the world because they sinned today, which we all did. You know what I mean? Like we've all
Yeah.
fallen short of the glory of God.
Yeah.
Um,
And it's like, why, whether you're Christian or not, you're going to
yeah,
mess up. Like it's
totally.
you live and you learn.
Yep,
Like everybody's gonna go through moments like where they make mistakes, they learn from
yep,
it, so they grow into the person that they need to become, that God wants
yep,
them to become. So
yep.
it's like, why judge? Like we all make
Yeah.
mistakes.
Like, show them. Okay, I have one more question, and then I'm gonna do my last question, but I was thinking of this
Okay.
while we're talking. Like, I feel like even as like a and this is kind of probably more for me, like as a mentor, someone who like speaks into the younger generation, right? I have a heart to kind of like push you guys out of your comfort zone, and you know all about that because I'm always like, Abby, try
Mhm.
this or do that, right? But like, when is it too much? Like, how do we gauge like how much to push? Because I hear even parents say, like, I want to push, I want to motivate my kid, but I don't want to overdo it. Like, what would be a good meter? Like, if you were talking to me and I was like, hey, I want to push you on the worship team, I want you to step out more and I want to encourage you. Like, how do we know when it's like pushing you guys too much where you're going to go over the edge or when you're like, no, we need a little nudge because we're still growing? Like, honestly, like if you were just telling me.
Honestly, I think when you see a difference in us, I think a lot of kids won't be vocal about that.
Yeah.
I feel like me personally, I wouldn't be vocal about that. I would just
Yeah.
try to give little hints, and then if
Okay.
you didn't catch it, it's like, "Okay, well, I gotta do it."
Okay.
But I feel like as mentors I feel like as mentors, just kind of watching how we react to certain things,
Okay.
and also just, like, taking baby steps.
That's
Like,
good.
not you don't wanna put a person on the worship team and then have them do a whole sermon, like, that's a big
Yeah.
step, like, do baby steps
That's
to
good.
getting there. I think
Okay.
that's a good thing, but
I love
also
that.
just for watching us, yeah, watch how we react to certain
That's true because you
things.
guys are usually pretty, expressive. You'll be
Yes,
like
with
or
body
you're like
language,
yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
It's
And,
very
I'm asking that because I am kind of a big pusher, you guys know that, like, I'm constantly, like, out of the nest, right? Like, that's kinda one
yeah.
of those things I feel called to, but I even tell the young adults I mentor, like, "If I ever push you to a space where you're like, 'It's too much,' like, tell me, like, turn around and be like" and I think you even have even done that now that I think about it, you've actually done that really well on the team. There's been times that I'm like, "Adi, can you try this harmony part?" And it's, like, super high, and you'll go, "I'll try," but then you'll come to me and you'll be like, "I don't know how I feel about it, I'm not sure." But that actually tells me, like, "Hey, I appreciate that you see something in me you want me to do. That might be a little past where I'm ready today." And then I'll usually be like, "Okay, girl, we'll try it. If it works, it doesn't," right? But again, like, that's you communicating, "Hey, I love the encouragement, but I'm not quite comfortable with that." And I have to be big
Mhm.
enough to go, "Cool, not, nah, girl, the Lord said you could do it." You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like to give you space to even go, "Hey, that's a little too much." I think that that's probably the best way to like think about it is like watch the body language, see where they're at, but also not be afraid to encourage because even if they say no, it doesn't hurt my feelings. Like, it don't hurt my feelings if you're like,
Yeah.
nah, girl. I still love you, even if you don't. And usually you get it. Like, usually you'll look at me and be like, I don't know. And then you'll like totally hit it. And I'm like, whatever, girl. You totally had it from the beginning. But okay, so this is my last question. We're going to wrap up with this. What advice would you give somebody who is like, maybe they've also been raised in church for a while, or maybe that just feels like it's become a routine, like it's just what they do, and they're kind of struggling with their faith? Like, what advice would you give them to keep going?
Honestly, I know it sounds very basic, very cliche, but
Hmm.
just pressing through, being patient, and trusting in
Yeah,
God.
I love it.
I've had seasons in my life where it's like just a bunch of questions, and I would be
Sure.
like, I don't know if any of this is real. I don't know if my faith in you is real or if it's
Yeah,
just like my parents' thing and I'm doing
yeah,
it for them.
sure.
But I always found myself in the midst of all of it being like, okay, I'm gonna keep pressing through. I'm gonna be patient. I'm gonna wait and see what you have for me. And like, I don't want people to think, oh, it's just another person telling me, like, be patient. God's gonna get you through this because at one point, I was in that position where I was
Sure.
like, it's just another person telling me the same thing. Like,
Yeah,
that's all it was to me. And it was like, okay, everybody's telling me this, but nothing's changing. I'm not seeing
mhm,
anything happen. And it's been like that for a while.
yeah,
And I feel like now I'm in a spot where it's like, I can honestly say to the people that are still in that position, like, it really is the truth. Like,
yeah.
it trips me out how quick it changed for me. Like,
Mhm,
I used to go from not trusting I have bad trust issues, and I feel like
okay.
that's a really big thing in my generation because
Mhm,
of, like, parental situations over
sure.
relationships because a lot
Mhm,
of people date at a young age, and
right.
we're all still growing and maturing and learning, and that
Yeah,
can cause a lot of hurt.
yeah.
Um, so I think it's a very big thing to have trust issues, and I would honestly say, like, honest. I feel
Mhm,
like God is the only person that you do not have to worry about
mm,
trusting. Like, you can
come on.
trust him fully and you can put your full trust in him. And I'm not saying like, "Oh, it's easy, just do it," because it wasn't easy for me. Like, there were times in my life where I didn't give things to him even when I wanted to. Like, that
Mhm,
trust issue came out and it was like I can't. But now I feel like I'm at a spot where it almost kinda scares me, like, how much I'm trusting him now out of nowhere,
mhm,
and I think just because of things that have happened in my life recently, I feel like
yeah,
it kind of switched something in my head. Like,
yeah.
I genuinely need to start putting my full trust in God.
Mm,
Like, I know I've been told, and I need to start actually doing it. And also, that's what creates the change that you're waiting to see.
yeah,
Like, if you trust him, if you give, like, your all to him, like, "Okay, I'm laying this all with you. I'm gonna let you do whatever you wanna do with it," that's when he starts to move, when you start to
yep,
trust him and all of that.
yep.
And so, yeah, I just feel like those are the key
Girl,
things.
that was a
Just
little
keep
preach
pushing
sermon right
through.
there. I love that. But it's true, like learning that like you're not always gonna feel it and you have to keep choosing it, right? Learning that like some days you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, it clicks, and then some days you're gonna go, I'm just gonna keep showing up, right? I think your generation is so based off like how people feel and like sometimes just the moments they forget that like it's actually the consistency of like, okay, Lord, like I may not always get it, but I'm learning, I'm growing. And like you said, as you push through, at some point you realize God is worthy of your trust. Like he's not going to hurt you
Yeah,
like those relationships or the friends that betrayed you or even, you know,
yeah,
even bad homes where your parent walked away. Like God is not that person, but you also have to learn over time how to build a relationship with him. And that takes
yeah,
time. Like
yeah.
you're not going to get that at like 13 years old right away, you know?
Yeah, and I'm not saying like, oh, over like a day, my relationship
Mm-mm.
with him is all fine and dandy because it's not. I'm still
Yeah.
working through a lot of things. It's
Yeah.
just that like it's slowly starting to progress and
Yeah.
I'm just saying like, yeah, I'm still working through it. But those three things were things that I was constantly told and I never believed it. And I
Yeah.
honestly at one point started pushing it away. Like, okay,
Mhm.
everybody tells me that and it's not happening.
It's like too
But
much.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but genuinely, those are the things that like
Mm.
kind of help you start to find your faith and start to realize like it's yours. In time, he'll show up to you. I feel like for
Yeah.
me, he definitely like the moments where he showed up to me were the moments where I was like, okay, this is real. Like
Mhm.
I'm genuinely like I have a love for him. It's not just what my parents taught me.
Yep.
So yeah.
No, I love that you even said that, like, those anchoring moments where, like, you cry during worship and you feel his presence or someone says something to you that, like, was spot on, or you even pray and
Mhm.
God shows up. Those are those encounter moments we literally pray for this generation to find because as great as we preach or however many songs you listen to or whatever, it doesn't matter if you don't find something that's real with Jesus, you know? And I think
Yeah.
it's those moments that you kinda look back and go, "Even if I'm in a rough patch, like, I know God is real," right? Like,
Mhm.
you've had enough encounters with the Lord where you could never be like, "He ain't real." Like, you may
Yeah.
choose to follow or not follow him, but those moments where he becomes real for you, that's what helps us keep pushing forward even when it doesn't make sense, right? And I will tell you this because I'm getting old, I'm about to turn 40. Well, you will look back and be like, "Oh my god," like, you'll see things you never thought you didn't notice before. You'll even understand why God allowed you to go through things, because you'll see things play out in your life, but more than anything, you'll understand why those seeds were planted in you and slowly over time grew. Like, the other day, I caught myself singing, like, a freaking, like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it was like a kid song from Bible church. Like, I was like, "Father Abraham," and then he said and I
I
was like it
love
was
that
so
song.
weird, right? And I thought, I just had a flashback from when I was like 7 singing these little cheesy songs, right? Like you will look back and go, wow, all those seeds were there and they actually did take root. And that's helped me become who I am. Like it's really wild, but I love that you said it like you just got to keep going. You got to keep trusting God and you got to allow Him to unfold things in you. That's a real relationship. That's not a religious one. And so
Mhm.
I appreciate you, girl. I'm so proud of you. I've seen you grow so much. I love leading worship with you. I love how much the Holy Spirit speaks to you and like gives you stuff for people. Like I know you're just starting to tap into that, but I know it's going to come even more. But I also think you're such a voice to your generation of just how to keep it real with Jesus. I think we need more Addies in this world. We need more people who are going, hey, create space, right? Because that's what's going to help your generation find Jesus. So thank you so much for coming on. I love you and I appreciate you so much.
I love you too. Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Boo. All right, break the box. So that's what we have for you today. I hope you got a good nugget today. I hope you got encouraged. I hope whether you're a young adult or a youth or a parent, you got something to take away. I love y'all. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.